I'm sure you know that there's this anti-homosexual bill going through in a number of the African countries. Has this inspired you to increase your activism in Africa and increase your gay rights activism?
Sure. What I'm doing at the moment, the book I'm working on at the moment is called The Global Sexuality Frontier.
That's fantastic.
And it's a book, I have funding from the Open Society Foundations to research it. And the funding is specifically around looking at this new global conversation around sexuality and what's causing the conversation, why this conversation is happening now, because it's a very new conversation, and what sort of effect it's having in different parts of the world. A lot of my activism has been about trying to break the deadlock around this idea that homosexuality is a Western import. By looking at ways that Africans can begin to talk for themselves about their sexual identities, and in my own research by looking at ways that homosexuality or gender non-conforming behavior is very much part of many different African societies.
Sure. What's your opinion on the upcoming elections?
That every moment in South Africa seems to be a threshold. And sometimes it seems like we're living perpetually on edge. And we're always like incredibly concerned about what's going to happen next. For me personally, these elections are disappointing in that there is no, I would really like to give my heart and my vote to a party that's not the governing party, because I think the governing party's been grossly guilty of abuse of power. But there isn't yet.
Yeah.
So I find myself in the same position I found myself in at the last elections, which is that I might vote for a party other than the ANC, but it's going to be a protest vote rather than a vote because I really believe in that party. But still, I think the people to look out for in this election are clearly the economic freedom fighters, clearly.
Big time.
And it's going to be fascinating to see how they do.
Who are you listening to at the moment?
I'm listening to an incredible kind of Middle Eastern jazz quartet called the Anwar Braham Quartet, which I absolutely love. I'm really into a kind of indie boy band called Travis. Crazy about Travis. And I'm listening to Billie Holiday again.
And what's your message to students who are aspiring to become writers and journalists?
I think it's a great career. It's an increasingly difficult career because of what's happening to professional journalism. But I think that one of the things that worries me is because professional journalism is becoming more and more difficult, and because of print journalism in particular is becoming more and more difficult, there's more emphasis in journalistic programming on the technical stuff. And one of the things I really like about Wits, and one of the things I really hope that Wits continues with and journalism students really stick with, is to hold to, even in this technological digital age, the values, the qualities that have always been at the core of journalism, which is curiosity, always be interested in the world, and always think about stories. In a way, that's the value of writing. Is writing teaches you about stories.
Who are you reading at the moment?
I'm reading Damon Galgut's new book, Arctic Summer, and it's absolutely brilliant. He's an extraordinary writer, and I think everybody needs to read this book. It's wonderful. It's not about South Africa at all. It's about Ian Forster and how Ian Forster wrote A Passage to India, but he is South African.